shooting that begins again, or try to call that person out and begin that resolution operation. They're there on the scene and in place. What we don't know, obviously, is what is happening inside that building. Now, if there's gunfire, you're not going to see what you're seeing here. That is many officers that are staging. But at some point, if they're inside involved in what's called these clearing operations, there becomes a point where it's the point of diminishing returns, where if you just have dozens of officers jammed into hallways, obviously that's going to make it difficult to methodically go through and clear in a safe way. So we expect right now, because we haven't received the all clear, that they're likely going through that multi-story building. All of the officers that arrived on scene well before these officers did. Again, we're talking about many different agencies. But again, you see all these officers just standing by and ready, and then we'll have to wait and see whether they actually ultimately decide that this person has been located, or if they need to then fan out. If this becomes a larger search operation, they will have these, what appears to be at least over 100 police there ready to assist.
Right. Let's turn over to Ryan Young, who was live on the ground moments after we got the breaking news that the shooting was taking place. Ryan, what are you seeing, and what's the latest you're hearing from police?
Yeah, Boris, the patchwork of police officers that throughout this area really blocked off the streets here, so we had to get rid of our cars and sort of hike in. They've moved us several different times because they are trying to keep up a hard perimeter around this entire area. You can see just off the side here, you can see the heavy SWAT personnel vehicles that are in this area. We are a block away pretty much from the location where this shooting happened. If you look down this direction here, that is the corner of the hospital right there that everyone's sort of focused on. I've been to this place before. Every different floor has a different sort of practice on the inside of it. And for those who know Atlanta at all, the Midtown Whole Foods is one block over. There's a lot of focus on that building right now, and especially around that parking garage area. They really shut this area down to make sure all that traffic that usually comes through here during the lunch period was also not in this area. So officers are obviously concerned about the foot traffic, high foot traffic in this area during the day, but they wanted to get out of this area. Now, when we were on that block right there, we could see SWAT units setting up in several different locations so that they get closer to the building, but obviously with the several different units, they're pulling them back and forth. No sort of active movement towards that building. Now, I've been talking to my sources and got that picture early on of that man in the hoodie. I've also learned some new information in the last 20 minutes or so, where I was told that the medical appointment was for the man and not his mother. I've also been told he is a former military service member, and they were worried about his mental health before this happened. And so that was the reason why he was being brought to this location to be talked to and evaluated according to my sources within the Atlanta Police Department. And after that, something agitated that man. I'm not sure anyone was aware that he was carrying that bag that apparently had a weapon in it. And then the shooting started. And once that shooting started, I'm told several people were hit. And of course, we're not sure of the conditions right now. There were nurses inside the building who started locking their doors with their patients. Several different people calling 911. The initial groups that got here, of course, with this Atlanta Police Department that was already training for active shooting situations. Several officers armed with those extended rifles set up a perimeter here on the scene, and they were able to lock the situation down. And that's why then they started getting that picture out, because they wanted to make sure that if someone was in one of these buildings, that they didn't get surprised by this man. And they've also been putting push alerts out on iPhones as well to let everyone know that this area is something that they should be cautious of. Now, I want to show you something, guys. This building right here, there are some residents in this area as well. So they were also concerned with all these apartment complexes that they didn't want that man roaming the hallways of some of these apartment complexes. And that's why setting this hard perimeter at the time they did was so vitally important. And so that is the question right now. Do they have him located in an area and they're talking to him? I know they're talking to his mother at this point. They're trying to get information from her exactly about his condition, what may have been going on in his life. There were several dozen other people who were inside that building who were terrified about exactly what was going on. They were calling 911. And then you have the massive police response from